first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Taking a look there. That is our live shot over Portland, Oregon. It looks a little gloomy, but you know what? That's all right. We're going to keep on going today, and I appreciate you all joining us here. So again, we live stream here every weekday starting at 1 p.m. Pacific. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and of course our website and our apps. I highly recommend downloading that Fox 12 Oregon app, and we cover a wide range of topics on here. But right now, we're talking about something that's probably important to a lot of people watching, and that is side hustle tax tips. If you have any kind of a business or something where you're selling something online, or maybe you have some stuff that you make and you sell to your friends, well, that's really a lot of fun, but also there's some important things to know when it comes to tax season, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. And if you're like me, you probably put it off until now. So we need some advice, and that's what we have today. So joining us right now, we have best-selling author and Inc. small business columnist, Steve Strauss. Steve, always good to see you. Steve and I do know each other outside of here, and Steve has helped me out many times with small business advice from all the different things that you do. And Steve, it's great to have you on here today.
Greg, my pal, great to see you, and you've helped me out many times as well.
Thank you. Well, let's talk about this. You know, side hustle is something that, you know, that term is used a lot, but I feel like there are so many people now that have that. You may have your regular real job that you're doing, but
Right.
you're doing something on the side. And it can be a lot of fun. Sometimes that can be lucrative. Sometimes it's just a hobby, but there's important things to know.
Well, I know, taxes, scary, right? Here's what's interesting. I saw a statistic recently that said, and I found it very surprising. I bet you'll find it surprising too. 78% of all workers now have a side hustle.
70%. 70%.
Over 70%. That's a crazy high number, you know?
That really is. Yeah, I don't know what that
here's what that tells us. We're not the only ones who know that. The IRS knows that. So what we want to do is make sure that we stay under the radar, right? We don't want to get on their radar and all of a sudden they're looking at everything and, oh, maybe you didn't dot the I right or cross the T right, or you forgot to add that expense. So what I want to help people do today is understand how to do just some basic stuff that's going to keep them safe, follow the rules, get whatever taxes they need to get paid. Don't pay too much if you don't need to, and get whatever deductions you can get. So that's what we want to do, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about that. What's the first piece of advice that you'd have for everybody?
Well, the first thing is you need to declare all your income. Now, it seems like when you have a side hustle, and often people who do side hustles get paid in cash. So you think, well, I don't really need to declare that. And, you know, it's understandable, but it's wrong. You do need to declare it, because one way the IRS checks is they'll look, actually, if they came and did an audit at your business, they'll look into your bank account. And so even if you don't declare it, if it's been deposited into your bank account, well, they're going to know that you fibbed a little bit or whatever. You didn't declare it, okay? Not the worst thing in the world, but it's not a great thing to do either. So whatever income you have coming in from your side hustle, you need to declare. You know, my daughter, Sydney, has become a chess aficionado, and she is now live streaming her chess matches on Twitch, or she's live twitching them on stream. I don't know what it is, you know, but what I do know is she's making money doing it. Okay, so Sydney has to declare whatever advertising revenue she gets from her little chess matches. It's not a lot, but you know what, just be safe, not be sorry, and declare whatever income you got. If you have, you know, we're in the land of the side hustle here in Portland. So whether it's you're at the Saturday market or the Portland, you know, farmers market on Sunday, or just off a website, just make sure you keep pretty good records and you let everyone know what you did. Because as a side hustle, it's not going to be that much anyway, so the taxes aren't going to be that much anyway. So nothing to worry about there.
But definitely you want to declare that. So I think that's a really good point too. So even if you're live streaming something and maybe you've got, you know, whatever, you're making some money off of a social media in some way, shape, or form, even if it's a small amount,
right,
you have to make sure to report that.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right. So report all of your income. Great tip there. What's another one people should know?
So along the same lines, as long as you're going to be declaring all your income, you also want to be declaring all of your expenses. And this is one of the things I love best about being in small business and about being in business for yourself, because so many things that in your normal life you don't get to deduct if you work for somebody else, if you're an employee or if you have, like I would say, a job, you can't deduct. But if you're self-employed, if you're a side hustler, then you can deduct them, and then that means that's the amount you can take off your gross income and pay less taxes. So it's anything that has to do with your business, even tangentially. And I'm not telling you to lie, but I am telling you to think expansively. So if you knit, of course, all your yarn, all your materials, all your transportation costs, maybe even utilities, things like that. If whatever you create, if you're creating a product, anything related to it, transportation, gasoline, buying things, selling things, taxes, all of those are expenses, and all of those expenses should be added up and deducted, and therefore you pay less taxes. And that is what we want to do. We want to pay less taxes.
Right. Yeah. So those expenses, I mean, I think that is really important, and probably something keep track of that throughout the year, I would imagine, but also make sure that that's something that's going in there. So that's really
Right.
important.
And even your mileage. I mean, it's a lot of minutia, but just anytime you get a receipt, have it like in my wallet. I have a spot in my wallet where I just put all my receipts that are related. Even if you go out for a meal, 50% of your meal, if you talk about your business, is deductible. Well, go out for a meal, make sure you mention your business, have a little convo about it, and you can add it in as a deduction, as a food and entertainment deduction. So that's pretty cool.
That's great, and important things to know too. So
Right.
declare all of your income, add up your expenses, and make sure you're getting all of your
Right.
expenses in there. So, and again, these are side hustle tips, for people who, I keep saying the word side hustle, but I mean, that's just a general term,
Right.
it's, yeah. And as you mentioned, 70% of people seem to have one. So important things to know. And I know there's some specific things for Oregon too, that we're going to get to, but I don't want to jump the gun because you're the expert.
Let me get to, I do have an Oregon one for you, but before that, this is just important to everybody. Most side hustlers, right, and especially here in this town, they work from home, generally speaking. Well, there is something called the home office deduction, and that's a really sweet deduction that you can get from the IRS and from Oregon as well. And that means if you have an extra room and you dedicate that room to that side business, so the rules are it has to be exclusive use of that room, and it has to be the primary place of the business. If you can meet those two rules, then you can get the home office deduction, and then the portion of your house that is for that room is deductible. Utilities, expenses, cleaning, overhead, whatever it is. And it's a nice deduction that will allow you to, again, cut down on how much you owe, because you're going to be making less because it's deducted from your gross income.
That's really good.
Home office deduction is key for any side hustler.
So if you've set up that home office, in a room in your house, and you can follow, meet all of those rules and regulations, that is a really good one. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Right.
So going from there, for people in the state of Oregon, obviously we have our own
Yes.
tax structure here and specific things. What are some good tips or tip for people in Oregon who have their own side business?
Right. So these are called tax credits. Oregon loves small business, right? Small business is big in this state, and so to encourage even more small business growth, the state of Oregon creates policies that encourage small businesses to set up and do work here. And so you can get what are called small business credits. Now, that's a word that's kind of confusing to people sometimes, but just think of it like a store credit. Well, what's a store credit do? It gives you money to buy something at the store. Well, a tax credit is just the exact same thing. It gives you money to help pay your taxes. So there are all sorts of small business tax credits that you can get from the state of Oregon. There's ones for arts and there's ones for different kinds of commerce. This takes a little more time and work and energy than I can share in a couple minute segment. So go online to Oregon.gov. Look under the tax credits, and you're going to find some, or talk to a professional, and they're going to help you too. And that would be kind of my last tip. But look at, we're inclined, especially if it's just a side hustle, to do our taxes on our own, right? There's TurboTax and things like that. But I know one night, I was about a decade ago, late at night, I was doing my taxes on, of course, it was April 14th, Greg, right? And Greg, sorry. And
Yep. That's me.
That's how I was that night, right? I was like, oh my God, where am I? I thought I'm making a big mistake. I didn't know what the big mistake was. All I know is that TurboTax thing I was doing, it didn't pass the smell test. So I filed an extension. Next day I went out and found myself a great CPA. He's my tax guy to this day. And you know what? It's his problem now. I give him all my receipts, I give him all my income. I give it to him. 2 weeks later, he gives me some nice clean taxes, gives me all my credits, gets me all my deductions, things I would never know about. So not a bad way to go. Or if you are the DIY, type, you can do it yourself. And here's the cool thing to know. Typically, IRS.gov is a behemoth of an unfriendly website. But this year, they have put a new tool on there that's kind of like TurboTax. So I don't know how they did it, but it is a intuitive, nice graphic interface, and you can actually go on to the IRS website and do your federal taxes. It's not for state, it's not for Oregon, but at least you can do your federal taxes with this nice, clean, free tool that they have. Or you can do TurboTax, or you can hire someone to help you do the whole thing. So it just depends on your expenses and how busy your business is, how big it is, what you're inclined to do.
Right, as far as maybe how complex it gets or how much that income was on there. I think that's great to know. So those credits for small businesses in Oregon, like that's a really
absolutely
interesting one. I didn't know about that either. So that's something to go there. I'd imagine you go to the website or go to a professional or go to the website and then just kind of look through and see if anything applies to you.
That's exactly how you would do it. Right.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, these are all great tips for everybody. So it's coming up too.
It's coming up, and it's never fun. Yeah. But you know what? It's just like, just do it.
It's what you got to do.
And get out of the way and on to the next thing.
Yeah, something everybody's got to do. So if you haven't done this yet, this is some great advice, or even just advice for next year, throughout the year. Keeping track of those expenses. So
absolutely
take advantage of this specific things for Oregon too. Well, Steve, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate it. For everybody out there too who wants to follow along with what you do, where's the best place to follow along with?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, you can find me online at my website, which is mrallbiz.com, or you could find my articles at inc.com. I'm their small business columnist and working on a new book about what? You know the answer, small business.
There it is. All right, Steve, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here today on Fox 12 Now.
Always great to see you, my friend.
You too. And for everybody watching too, appreciate you joining us. Again, this is Fox 12 Now, and we do cover a wide range of segments. So this was some tax advice, and especially if you're in Oregon trying to take advantage of some of the small business credits or those credits for your side hustle, that is a great thing to know about. And coming up here today, I'm just going to say this, coming up later today, we're going to talk to the Rip City Remix. We're going to be talking to Billy Bush. Yes, Billy Bush will be joining the show. But up next, we're going to have Eric Goranson from Around the House Northwest. He's going to be live from the National Hardware Show in Las Vegas. So he's going to be joining at 1:30. So whatever platform you're watching on, I'll be back there on that. But I do recommend downloading the Fox 12 Oregon app. It's a great way to watch the live show, watch past episodes of Fox 12 Now or past segments, and also to watch everything else that we do here as well. So there's lots on that app. So definitely go take a look at that, the Fox 12 Oregon app. But that's it for this segment. I'm going to sign off. We'll regroup. We'll talk to you in about 15 minutes. Big thanks to Steve Strauss. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.